You know, there's something rather amusing about the way we've been taught to talk to God. We approach it as if we're sending a telegram to some distant cosmic emperor who sits on a throne billions of miles away, checking his clipboard to see if we've been good enough to deserve his attention. We kneel down, close our eyes very tightly, fold our hands just so, and then we begin our performance. Dear God, we say, as if we're writing a letter to someone we've never met. I hope you're having a nice day up there. Now about that thing I wanted... But what if I told you that the whole setup is backwards? What if talking to God has nothing whatever to do with talking to someone else at all? Let me ask you something. When you talk to yourself, do you use words? I don't mean when you're muttering about the grocery list or rehearsing what you're going to say to your boss. I mean in those quiet moments when you're really listening to yourself, when you're trying to figure out what you actually feel about something, what you truly want. In those moments, there's a kind of knowing that happens before words, isn't there? It's more like a recognition, a sensing, a direct awareness of what's going on inside you. Now, here's the curious thing. What we call God, what we might also call the universe, the ground of being, the eternal now, this isn't some separate entity sitting outside of you, checking off items on a list. You see, you are an expression of this whole universe. You're not in the universe like a marble in a box. You are something the universe is doing right here, right now, in the same way that a wave is something the ocean is doing. So when you talk to God, you're not really talking to someone else. You're becoming aware of what you already are. You're tuning in to the fact that this thing you call me is actually the whole cosmos experiencing itself from this particular point of view. Think about it this way. The wave rises up out of the ocean and looks around and says, my goodness, I'm separate from all this water. But of course, that's nonsense. The wave is water. It's made of water. It moves with the water. When it crashes on the shore, it doesn't die. It simply returns to what it always was, the ocean. We are like that wave. We rise up out of this mysterious source, this ground of all being, and we think we're separate from it. We think we have to shout across some vast distance to get its attention. But you can't be separate from it, because you are it. You are the universe looking at itself through your eyes right now. So what does it mean to talk to God? It means to stop, to be quiet, to listen. You see, we've got the whole thing backwards. We think prayer is about speaking, about making our requests known, about explaining our situation to some divine bookkeeper who might not have noticed what's going on in our lives. But the real art is in the listening, not the speaking. When Jesus went off by himself to pray, he wasn't reciting memorized formulas. He was becoming quiet enough to hear. He was letting go of the noise in his head, all the chatter, all the planning and worrying and rehearsing. He was settling into a deeper silence where something else could speak. And what speaks in that silence? Well, that's the whole mystery, isn't it? You might call it intuition, or guidance, or the voice of God. But what it really is reality itself making itself known to you. It's life showing you what wants to happen next. Let me tell you what happens when most people pray. They come with an agenda. They've already decided what should happen. They've figured out exactly how God should fix their problem, exactly what solution would be best. And then they dress it all up in humble language. If it be thy will, Lord, please do exactly what I've already decided should happen. But this is rather like going to a doctor and saying, I've diagnosed my own condition and prescribed my own treatment. Now please give me what I've decided I need. The doctor might smile and say, perhaps we should examine you first, don't you think? The correct way to talk to God is to come empty. To come not knowing. To come without your list of demands and requirements. To come as pure listening, pure receptivity, pure openness to what is. This is not passivity. This is not. It's something much more alive than that. It's like swimming in a river. If you try to control the water, if you try to force it to flow in a different direction, you'll exhaust yourself and probably drown. But if you relax into the current, if you feel which way it's moving and flow with it, Then you discover you can navigate with incredible grace and power. When you sit quietly and stop all your internal chattering, something remarkable happens. At first, you notice all the noise, all the thoughts bouncing around like popcorn in a hot pan, all the worries, the plans, the memories, the fantasies. And your first instinct will be to try to stop them, to push them away, to make your mind blank and pure. But you see, this too is just more doing. It's more controlling. It's more of you trying to force reality to match your idea of how it should be. Instead, simply watch. Watch the thoughts come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. You don't have to do anything with them. You don't have to believe them or act on them or push them away. Just watch. And in the watching, something begins to happen. The thoughts begin to slow down. The chatter begins to quiet. And in that quietness you begin to sense something else. A presence, an awareness, a sense of being held by something much larger than yourself. This is what Jesus meant when he said the kingdom of heaven is within you. He wasn't talking about some future reward or some place you go when you die. He was talking about this direct awareness of your unity with all that is. This recognition that you are not separate from the source of all life. Now I know what you're thinking, but what about my problems? What about the things I need help with? Are you telling me I should just sit quietly and do nothing while my life falls apart? Not at all. But here's what I am saying. The help you need doesn't come from some external deity who might or might not decide to intervene. It comes from this deeper wisdom that emerges when you get your anxious, controlling little ego out of the way. When you're all wound up in worry, when you're frantically trying to figure everything out, when you're desperately praying for God to change your circumstances, you're like a radio that's jammed with static. The signal is there, but you can't hear it because you're making too much noise. But when you become quiet, when you let go of your agenda, when you stop trying to control the outcome, something amazing happens. Solutions appear that you couldn't have thought of. Opportunities open up that you didn't know existed. You find yourself saying and doing exactly the right thing at exactly the right moment, not because you planned it, but because you got out of your own way and let life flow through you. This is what it means to pray without ceasing, as Paul put it. It doesn't mean walking around all day reciting prayers. It means living in this state of open awareness, this constant listening, this ongoing recognition of your connection to the source of all being. Let me give you an example. Suppose you're worried about money. The usual way of praying about this is to ask God to give you money, to make your circumstances better, to solve your financial problems. But notice what this does. It keeps you focused on the problem. It reinforces the belief that you don't have enough. It makes you feel powerless and dependent on some external force to rescue you. But suppose instead you sit quietly and simply become aware of your breathing. You notice the air moving in and out. You notice that you didn't have to learn how to breathe. Your body just knows. It's been breathing you since the moment you were born, and it will continue breathing you until the moment you die, without any effort or worry on your part. And then you expand that awareness. You notice that your heart is beating, your food is digesting, your cells are doing their incredible dance of life. All of this is happening without any conscious control from you. The intelligence that runs your body is vastly greater than your conscious mind. And this intelligence, this organizing principle, this creative force, it's the same intelligence that spins the galaxies and grows the trees and brings the spring after winter. It's all one thing. And you are not separate from it. You are one of its expressions. When you really feel this, when you sense your connection to this vast creative intelligence, something shifts. You stop feeling like a beggar asking for scraps. You start feeling like what you are, an integral part of this whole magnificent process. And from that place, from that sense of connection and trust, you begin to act differently. You make different choices. You see opportunities you missed before. You find resources you didn't know you had. The money problem might or might not resolve itself immediately, but your relationship to it changes. You stop being paralyzed by fear. You stop making desperate decisions. You start flowing with life instead of fighting against it. This is what Jesus demonstrated over and over again. He didn't stand apart from the Father, begging and pleading. He said, I and the Father are one. He lived from that place of unity. And from that place, the so-called miracles happen naturally, not as violations of natural law, but as expressions of a deeper understanding of how things actually work. Now you might say, but what about gratitude? Shouldn't we thank God for what we have? Of course. But again, we've misunderstood what gratitude really is. It's not about keeping God happy, like a child thanking a parent so they'll get dessert. Real gratitude is simply the recognition of the gift that existence is. Look at this. You are alive. You can see, hear, taste, touch, smell. You can think and feel and experience this astonishing world. None of this is ordinary. None of this is something you earned or deserved. It's pure gift. It's grace. It's miracle. When you really see this, when you really feel the extraordinary nature of the most ordinary moment, a glass of water, a breath of air, the warmth of the sun, gratitude arises naturally. You don't have to manufacture it or perform it. It simply bubbles up from the recognition of how blessed you already are. And this gratitude changes everything. It shifts you from a state of lack to a state of abundance, from fear to trust, from grasping to receiving, and in that state you become a channel for even more life, even more creativity, even more blessing to flow through you. So here's the correct way to talk to God. Sit down. Close your eyes if you like, or leave them open and softly focused. Take a few deep breaths and feel your body relaxing. Notice the thoughts bouncing around in your head, but don't follow them. Just watch them come and go. And then, without words, without any formulas or scripts, simply open yourself. Be receptive. Be listening. Be aware. Notice the silence underneath all the noise. Notice the space in which all experience is happening. Notice that you are aware, and this awareness is not separate from what you're aware of. You might sense a presence. You might have insights bubble up. You might simply feel a sense of peace or connection. Or nothing much might happen at all, and that's fine too. You're not doing this to get something. You're doing it to remember what you are. And then as you go about your day, carry this awareness with you. When you're washing dishes, really wash the dishes. Feel the warm water. Notice the bubbles. Be completely present to this simple act. When you're talking to someone, really listen. Don't plan your response. Don't judge what they're saying. Just be there, fully present, fully open. This is prayer. Not the words you recite, but the quality of your presence. Not the requests you make, but the awareness you bring to each moment. When you live this way, you discover something wonderful. The distinction between sacred and ordinary dissolves. Everything becomes prayer. Making breakfast is prayer. Walking to work is prayer. Listening to a friend is prayer. Because you're no longer separate from the source. You're no longer trying to get God's attention. You're simply being what you are, a unique expression of the divine, a particular way that the universe is experiencing itself. And from this place, when you do speak words of prayer, they come from a different source. They're not demands or bargaining or performance. They're expressions of this deeper awareness. They might sound like, thank you, or help me see clearly, or simply yes. You see, the correct way to talk to God is to recognize that there's no one to talk to. There's only this eternal now, this present moment, this direct experience of being alive, and you are not separate from it. You are it. So stop trying so hard. Stop performing. Stop pretending you're someone you're not, talking to something outside yourself. Just be quiet. Just listen. Just open yourself to what is, and in that openness, you'll find that you're already being prayed through. The universe is speaking itself through you. Life is living itself as you. God, if you want to use that word, is not something you talk to. It's what you are. This is the secret that the mystics have known in every tradition, that the seeker and the sought are one, that the prayer and the prayed to are the same thing looking at itself from different angles, that prayer is not communication between separate beings, but the universe becoming conscious of itself. So the correct way to talk to God is to stop talking and start listening, to stop seeking and start being, to stop performing and start experiencing. And in that simple shift, everything changes. Not because God finally heard you and decided to answer, but because you remembered what you always were, an inseparable part of the whole, the universe experiencing itself through the particular form called you. And that, my friends, is all the prayer you'll ever need.